Piglet's family, her parents, her sister, herself, would call out the answers to the quiz shows, spoons scraping in their bowls. Piglet knew her parents still ate her mother's roast chicken every Sunday. On Saturday it was a takeaway, Chinese from the shop in town, and on Friday it was fish, no matter the weather, no matter the time of year. These routines, which had once cradled their familial bonds, their Sunday traditions, now made Piglet feel a crawling embarrassment, a creeping pity. She had learned since she left Derby, left her parents, that the only way to serve a Viennetta was ironically. When she had met Kit's parents, they had served a roast rib of beef. Richard had carved, and the blackened bones which had stuck into the air shook as he sliced. When Cecilia apportioned herself a single slice and a heaping of steamed Cavolo Nero, Piglet had done the same. They had discussed art over dinner, Warhol at the Ashmolean, and Piglet had nodded, beamed, and spoken about Campbell's soup cans to sympathetic smiles. Kit and Richard ate second helpings with their fingers. Cecilia had sighed, the corners of her lips curling. Boys. Piglet's dinner would not be like her mother's or her future in-laws. There would be jazz music, cigarettes smoked on the patio, and a dessert made from one of the new cookbooks she was editing. An espresso semifreddo with warm caramel sauce and glinting shards of praline. There were easier recipes she could have made. She could have bought dessert, pudding, even, but she did not pass up an opportunity to mention one of her authors by name on the off chance someone might ask for the recipe. At the checkout, Piglet stood behind a woman with two young boys. They were hanging on the woman's arm, whining about sweets, swinging backwards and forwards, catching glances from the other shoppers before raising their voices, eyeing their mother as she moved groceries from trolley to till with her remaining hand. Piglet tried to catch the cashier's eye. This was Waitrose. The woman didn't look at her children as she transferred crisps in brightly coloured packaging to the conveyor belt. Cereal, sliced white bread, ice cream. Piglet eyed the shopping and then the children. She glanced at the cashier again. By the time Piglet's organic chicken had reached the till, the children were quiet. They had each been handed a fluorescent bag of knickknacks torn from their multi-pack. They grinned at each other, their fingers dusted orange, pulped corn between their teeth. The woman paid, left, and Piglet positioned herself to receive her groceries and compliments on her choice of food. The cashier looked up at her smiling, inclining her head. Boys, she said, before she pushed the chicken through the till. They're not going to notice if a bit of skin's gone. Kit, his eyes dark with desire, was naked besides his boxers, a pair of yellow rubber gloves. The chicken, a long-legged bird with feathers still clinging to its thighs, had just been removed from the oven and the kitchen was shimmering with heat. The room was empty, walls bare, boxes spilling Tupperware stacked where a table would eventually stand. Kit stood behind Piglet, her skin also bare, save an apron strung over her underwear, and she felt the heat of him on her back. I thought you were doing the bathrooms, Piglet said, as she inspected the bird, her body bending into his. They're done, Kit said. Doesn't take long when they've never been used. With his arms around her, he began to remove his gloves, pulling a finger at a time until his hands were uncovered and inching towards the chicken, its brown skin crisp. Piglet turned to face him. Not for you, she said, leaning closer to his face, gently biting his lip, tasting salt. He smiled and she felt his lips pull wide away from her. I've been saving this for us, though. Piglet pulled a near-empty round orange Le Creuset pot towards her. She scraped a spoon around its edge and lifted it to Kit's mouth. His eyebrows contracted, his lips. Good, isn't it? Piglet said, smiling as Kit groaned. Coffee custard for the semifreddo. Kit took the pot from the stove and cradled it like a child as he folded his legs beneath him, sinking to the floor of their empty kitchen. He slapped the space next to him and Piglet sat. Kit scraped another half-spoon of custard from the pot and held it to Piglet's lips. She swallowed, a child taking medicine.